When you're really quiet, you can all of a sudden hear like clocks ticking and pugs snoring and the little things.
A house creaking.
Mm-hmm.
Sinking.
Sinking?
Mm-hmm.
I guess we're all sinking. We know someone who has pretty, this came up recently, tinnitus, you know, from going to loud shows and stuff.
Mm.
And did DMT with someone the other day, and the first thing they said is, I don't want to speak too soon, but I think this might have helped my tinnitus.
Yeah.
And I got to reach out to other people I know who may be struggling with that and say, maybe it would make sense. If anything could help heal tinnitus, I think DMT's the thing.
Yeah, smoking DMT and offering DMT to people is, it's kind of crazy, but then when you do it, it's like, feels like kind of the most natural offering that you could have for a psychedelic to somebody, because it's so short lasting and kind of it affects everyone differently, but everyone seems to have like a net positive experience with it.
It's not spooky like salvia.
No, I wouldn't recommend salvia to anyone.
People don't come out of DMT and be like, I was in a demented, twisted, haunted house where I was upside down and...
Yeah. There's a great video. Oh my God. One of my favorite new documentaries is this 18-minute video that's on YouTube of these twisted jokers just in their bedroom smoking salvia. They're all like kind of drunk already, and I think they had taken Molly, and they're in like a dilapidated bedroom, and there's like 3 or 4 dudes in there, and they all simultaneously do bong rips of salvia.
Oh yeah.
And they leave like the webcam on their thing running.
You gotta stream it.
This is one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. It's so goddamn compelling. And they hit the salvia, and like one dude's like kind of like flopping over the table and shit, and like the other guys are so out of it they don't even notice. And like I guess this guy flopping around made enough noise that the guy's mom came into the room. They were like at the guy's mom's house. And the guy's mom came into the room like, what's going on in here? And when the mom came in, you could see like one dude, like he looks at her, he gets scared. He gets up, he runs across the bed and just jumps out a second story window. It's insane.
The mom's face was like, oh.
And she goes over and she looks out the window and she's like, Brandon just jumped out the window. What did you guys do? What did you take? She's like freaking out and trying to get the like another person involved. Like, you know, they go outside to look for him. They can't find the kid. You know, like he jumped out of the window, landed, and God knows what happened to him. He like ran off. And the video continues, and there's like one dude laying in bed not reacting to any of this stuff, and he's like sort of kind of coming out of it. You hear the mom in the other room talking to her other son who didn't smoke the salvia. Like, what did they do? And like the son doesn't really know. And he's drunk himself, and he's like, it's just like your heart is racing. This whole thing, like it has such a beautiful narrative arc. And then like 12, 13 minutes into this 18-minute video, the kid that jumped out the window comes back. He just like comes waltzing into the room like, whoa, that was crazy. And like you see him like lift up his shirt and look, and like you've never seen a worse, I don't even know what to call it, like a bruise, like, or an abrasion, like just red and brown, just like his whole abdomen is like red and brown. I guess like it looks like he jumped out and like
landed on a fence,
landed over a fence or something like that. And they're like, Jesus Christ, Brandon, what the hell? And he's like, no, I'm good. I just need to chill. I just need to chill. Like, he's like, what was that? They're like, you smoked salvia. And he's like, oh man, that shit is crazy. And he's like, oh man, I just need to chill. And everyone's like, yo, it looks pretty bad, man. He's like, no, I'll be okay. And they're like, do you want us to call an ambulance? And he's like, no, I'm chill. And he just like relaxes for a couple minutes, and he's like, yo, I'm really hurt. I'm really, really hurt. You got to call an ambulance right now. It's insane. The sequence is so crazy. Maybe I'll try to link to it in this thing.
Well, I mean, I feel like everyone...
I don't even know how to find it.
I mean, maybe people don't know that exact experience, but the getting hurt and being like, I'm okay, and then being like, oh shit, maybe I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And they can be like it's an emotional roller coaster.
Oh my God.
I'm like, this is fine. Oh no, this is really bad.
Yeah, like this is not fine. This isn't cool at all. I've had it. Well, I had it the other night. We we recorded a Church of Chill episode, our latest episode, really good one. It's called Kodachrome. A lot of hits on there.
A lot of hits.
And did a little bit of ketamine during it. A little bit, nothing too crazy. And the episode ends, and like when you take off the headphones after doing that for like an hour and a half, you're like, whoa. So we're like, let's go outside for a second. We go outside, and I'm like, well, I'm in a little bit of a K-hole here. Like everything feels weird. The outside feels weird. Just in that moment, my tongue feels, and my back tooth is like half missing. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? It looked
really gnarly.
Yeah. Like
I was like, let me see. And I looked and I was like, oh God.
Yeah. Like I kept putting my tongue there and I'm like, is this the drugs or like, what is going on? Like, when did this happen? How did this happen? Like, why am I just noticing? Like, I kept like wanting that feeling, when you wake up from a bad dream where you're like, oh, that wasn't real. Whew. Like I kept like hoping that I could tap into
especially teeth, because teeth is such a power. Like, I don't know, I have teeth dreams where like your teeth are falling out or you're swallowing. I don't know.
Yeah. And like we're trying to go on the road and I'm like, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I can't go around like this. Like I was so utterly anxious and distracted after that. Really ruined a really good high. Like where I was just like, I couldn't wait for the ketamine to wear off to like see the severity of it, but I could feel it with my tongue. I'm like, half my tooth is gone. I don't know how this happened or when this happened, but you
probably swallowed it.
I know.
Do you think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, gross.
I think it probably happened earlier in the day when I was eating some carrots. We've been eating a lot of just raw carrots. Those things could be tough on your chompers.
I won't stop eating them.
You're never gonna stop.
I ain't never gonna stop.
I'm easing my way back into it.
I can pre-chew your carrots for you if you want.
I can do it. I just have to do it with my rabbit
little
teeth.
Baby bird.
I have to just do it with the upfront rabbit teeth. But it freaked me out. It really did. But like at first I was trying to do the like, oh no, it's cool, it's chill, and then like I couldn't make it 2 seconds without thinking about it, to the point where I was like, Cass, I need to go to the dentist tomorrow. I don't care what you have to tell them. Hey, you're such my babe that you just like, I wake up in the morning and you're like, they got you at 2 p.m. I don't even have to think about it. You're so good at that stuff.
I tried to keep it. I knew how freaked out you were that I tried to be like, Sean is the only thing he's going to be thinking about is this tooth until he gets the dentist.
Yeah. So actually, to finish that story out, this is actually really interesting to me, at least. I don't know if anyone else will find it interesting, but I'm going over to the dentist and I'm just like, I don't know. It's a pretty big thing. I don't even know how to fix this. I don't even know if there is a fix for this kind of thing.
Yeah, because you had a really bad cavity that basically just broke your tooth in half, and then half of it was missing.
But I've had cavities before, but they're not like anything you could feel. It's
Black
something.
Hole
This was like an abyss.
Stuck in there.
And like I've had not that many cavities in my life, and I take such good care of my teeth. That's the crazy thing. Mm-hmm. I take such good care of my teeth. But like my cavities are usually something I can only see on like a damn X-ray. And this was like, I went in there, I laid down, and the dentist was like, holy shit, this is a gigantic cavity. And she's like, I'm like, yeah, you know me. And, just thinking like, okay.
I think you more likely broke the tooth from flossing, personally.
No, but that would have happened the night before. I think I wouldn't have gone that long without noticing.
Okay.
Plus, I don't want to be scared of flossing. I have to floss every day. It's like,
okay.
You don't floss. I'll admit it.
I floss once a month.
I do it every day. I'm really good. I decided that 2 years ago. I was like, I'm not missing a day of flossing, and I really don't. But so yeah, she's like, this is a gigantic cavity, and I'm like, oh, okay. And she's like, yo, you're gonna need a fucking root canal. Babe.
That just sounds gnarly.
The first thought I had is, I can't believe Cass isn't here right now, because like I would squeeze your hand.
Your mom asked me like, "Are you going to the dentist with him?" And I'm like, "No, he can go by himself."
I needed you in that moment, but you not being there made me have to tap into a realm. Like, it brought all my spiritual practices, all the angel work that I was talking about on the last podcast, right up to the surface. I was like, bro, calm it down. Mm-hmm. Calm it down, tap into your angel breaths, which I'm just like, it's like 4 to 6 to 8 seconds in, hold for 2 to 3, 4, push out as much as possible, hold back in for, and just, it's like a box breathing thing. Those are my angel breaths. Mm-hmm. It's just to get me Like, it's just like, calm down, bro. And like, this is the first time I've been to the dentist in years not being completely baked, you know. I'm experiencing a lot of things for the first time not being baked. And I'm like, calm it down and get on the goddamn timeline where you don't need this root canal. Because she's basically like, if you need a root canal, I'm going to send you right over to this doctor that does this. He's going to fucking rip your face apart, do this root canal, send you back, then I'll do this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, I can't, my heart can't handle this. Like, I know everybody's had, like, a lot of people have had fucking root canals and all this shit. I'm just like, I can't handle this. I know I can't. Get on the goddamn timeline where this isn't even a possibility, where you're going to shock her with that you don't need one somehow. So I just like really tapped into like some Neville Goddard, Noah Lampert, like imaginal techniques. And it's like, yo, this isn't for the future. This is for right now. Like right now we're dimension hopping. We're hopping over to the dimension where, yes, I'm still at the dentist and yes, I'm missing half my tooth, but that good news is somehow coming out of this. And lo and behold, about 3/4 of the way through doing the thing, I mean, she sticks a needle in there and pushes it. That's the part that kills me the most. I can handle almost everything else, but when she's like, I'm about to stick a needle in your gums, it's going to pinch. Just the idea of the visual of that, just everything about it just crushes me. And I got to get over it. And I maybe I did on this thing, but she's like doing her thing. It's like, ding, 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 ding. And she's like, you know what? You're not going to need a root canal. And I was like, oh, it's all good. Yeah, that's what I figured. And she did her thing, and she's just like, yeah, that was a huge cavity. And, you know, but you're all good. And I was like, okay, great. Do I have to worry about anything? And she's like, no. She's like, you do have a cavity on your wisdom tooth that I'm not going to be able to do anything about, so you're going to have to get your wisdom teeth removed. And I got a little bit of those flutters in my stomach of just like, what, I can't do, I can't handle that.
What do you mean you can't handle it because we're going to do it for the content? I'm just going to video you saying some weird shit.
That's where they put you completely under. Do they? Is
Yeah.
it really? Because it's like it's a real deal thing.
Yeah, you'll get out of it and you'll say some wacky ass shit.
Did you get your wisdom teeth removed?
I did.
When? When you were a young girl?
Sometime between 17 and 20. I don't remember exactly when.
It was before we met.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can't believe I still have those fuckers in there. But she's like, I'm going to need to take those out. I don't like it. But I escaped that one without a goddamn... I don't even want to know what a root canal is. All I know is one time this dude came over to our apartment in like a manic episode saying, I've never been the same since I got a root canal.
Don't make people paranoid.
No, he made me paranoid. I'm just venting here. Let me just vent this out. Can I just tell you where this comes from?
Yeah,
the reason I had to time hop, I don't like using that often. I usually just like taking whatever's coming my way.
Because you don't know what you're trading for time hopping.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I do not know what kind of deal with the devil I might have made. I feel like I made a deal with the angels. I was like, I'll serve you more than ever. Just please get me off this timeline where I have to do this thing. Because this dude, you remember, came over to our apartment and Joey was there and he scared the ever-loving shit out of us. He was like in a manic episode and he was like, I've been like this ever since I took a root canal. And then he started like basically trying to compel me to make a documentary about root canals and how they're performing them too often on people that don't need them, and it can fuck with your brain piece. And to the point where he's following up with emails and CCing all these dentists all over the place and all these people that did. Oh, babe. This guy freaked me the fuck out. Like he planted a seed of paranoia.
He really wanted you to do it, the documentary, and you're like, honestly, I can't even touch this one. I'm too scared.
Yeah, no, I was like, what? My mom just got a root canal last week. Like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah. It's a mental health thing. And maybe there's something to it. I don't know. I don't want to make people crazy.
And it also might be like back in the day. Like he was an older gentleman, so it might have been like, okay, they were like doing lead fillings or something like that.
He might have been like one of the first root canals.
No, it's not that old.
They were doing some weird shit to him. They put mercury in there.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But discovering half your tooth was missing in a goddamn K-hole or hurting yourself in a salvia trip.
Was there something you had thought of earlier in that day that made you feel like...
Yes. Yeah, I told you about this.
Yeah, what was that again?
Well, I had two things. like I really like God. This is like this. I'm gonna start sounding like a paranoid schizophrenic if I go down this path. But
we all flirt with it. We all flirt with a little paranoia here and there.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm very superstitious. That's my thing.
It kind of leads to that.
Yeah.
Basically, I was going for a run, and like towards the end of my run, I was like, I can't believe I fixed the dryer myself. And it actually, like 3 months later, it's still working.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's kind of
okay.
crazy. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. I just followed a YouTube video. It took me 2 days. I looked like a damn meth head taking this thing apart.
You did.
It looked crazy. But I did it. And I was like, I wonder if it's going to need maintenance or if I should check up on that like thing at all. And literally the next day, the dryer stopped working. And the same thing happened for my tooth.
Well, that's why you were beating. I couldn't understand why you were beating yourself up so hard about this. When the dryer like kind of failed again,
Yeah.
You were in just a dark place. I was like, what's the big deal? Someone's going to fix it. If you don't fix it, someone else will fix it. It's going to be okay. And you were just in like this dark place. And then you revealed like a day later, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I had an intrusive thought.
Yeah.
I questioned my work. I questioned my work.
I questioned a timeline that was already it was good. It was good. It was all good. I didn't need to be doing revisionist like bullshit. And I did. Next thing you know, the dryer needed to be fixed. And I had a similar thing with my teeth. I just a little intrusive thought of like, last time I was at the dentist, she said I needed to get some other stuff fixed, and I never went back there. I should go back there at some point, or whatever. Next thing you know.
Well, good thing it doesn't happen while you're on the road. There's so much to be grateful for. You know what I mean?
It immediately pushed me into, like, I was like, man, I've been practicing. I've been really good about my practices and gratitude and everything lately. This pushed me into a whole new dimension of that, of just like, yo, my body works. Nothing's like broken or ailing right now. Like, everything's flowing. Everything's going good. Like, maybe I just needed a little reminder like that.
Like to take care of yourself, because part of the reason you didn't go to the dentist, because I kept saying like, let's get the other half of your face fixed or your teeth fixed.
And I was like, we can't afford it.
Yeah, you kept saying we can't afford it. I'm like, we can fucking no, what we can't afford is your freaking mouth of falling apart.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, it's going to be however many $100 to get a cavity filled, and that seems like a lot, but it's a lot more expensive having to replace whole teeth.
A root canal, having to go to a mental institution after because of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, thank God my body works. Yeah.
No, it's so funny. I hate to admit my superstitions, but sometimes I feel like they're guardrails that keep me, like it's like maybe like the mildest form of OCD of like, okay, these are my train tracks and I just have to stay on them and like kind of listen to certain things. But, we went to see one of our favorite bands the other day. That was really fun.
Oh, man. It was the best. It was the best. We went and saw the Descendents with the Circle Jerks and the Adolescents. Old punkers.
Oh, yeah.
Guys in their 60s.
You can't feel old in a show like that because everyone on stage is older than you. So it's like...
And people in the crowd are there with their grandkids, and everybody's having a great time.
It was a young scene, though. There were a lot of young... Especially where we were, which we were up front and center. Yeah. But, no, that was another thing where we were in there, and there's just, you're having fun, and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't want to get hurt. And then once you have that thought of I don't want to get hurt,
have to get out of there.
You kind of have to get out of there because you'll never forgive yourself if you don't. If I had the thought, oh, I'm going to break my ankle or sprain my ankle, and that's going to really affect the plans we have for the next 2 months, and I stay, and I'm like, no, I'm going to push that thought away and stay in there, and then that happens. I'm like, well, I won't be able to live with myself if I do that.
Right.
You just kind of, sometimes angel winks come in like little different, I don't want to say angels come in paranoid thoughts, but there is we're just discovering the territory.
We're trying to figure this out.
Yeah, we don't know the answers, but sometimes I think the angels talk to me by saying, hey, it's time to water the plants. That's not a paranoid thought. That's just like, duh. It's just like a little angel being like, reminding me, like, oh, remember to water the plants. And I can either serve that angel then or ignore it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes the angels are like, you could get hurt doing this.
Yeah.
But, and the reason it wasn't like, oh, just a paranoid thought out of nowhere. I was literally getting mangled and bojangled.
Well, I feel like that night started with us going down to the city. The angels were winking at us that whole day. Because it was the day of my grandmother's funeral. And so we had like 2 distinctly different days. We had like a very somber, reflective morning where we were at a funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool. Then we came home, took a little nap, and then we were like, we should get going to this show. And like, I look how long it's going to take to get to the show. This is where I feel like this is where the angels like kind of started intervening. I was like, let me check when we should go to the show. And I was like, oh my God, we got to go right now. Like, we should leave right now. It's going to take us
like
a while.
15 minutes. It was like, it was enough time to not be stressed. We could
get
ready to go.
But we should get ready and go like right now. And then when we got in the car, right before we left the driveway, I was like, and we try to do this. It's just like, hey, may the angels protect us. We're about to be in a vehicle going God knows how fast down to this place. And, as a little extra, if they want to hold a parking spot for us, they should. And, we get on the road and you volunteered to drive. Thank you so much. That was very sweet. I've been doing a lot of driving, and the fact that you were like, I'll take this drive. It's going to take like an hour and 48 minutes to get to a place that usually takes an hour. It was taking fucking forever to get there, and it just kept adding time to the place, and you had to pee so bad.
And I've done this, I've tried this like a couple times where I try to
pee in a bottle.
I try to pee in a bottle while driving. Do not do it. I can't do it. It is so dangerous. It's different. We have different mechanics.
Yeah.
Like we were like in traffic, and I was like, all right, I can just do it and like sit up, and then like I was
like, Cass, hit the brake.
And then like my head's like hitting the windshield, and I'm like,
it was crazy.
Okay,
there was
really
no way
bad.
to do it, but I felt for you. I really
That's
felt
okay.
for you.
It's okay.
But we did switch in traffic. When we got to a traffic light, we did a Chinese fire drill and switched, and you were able to pee.
And the guy next to me was just like staring right through the window, and I'm like sitting like,
you're nodding at him.
I'm like yeah, I'm sorry.
You
got me. I'm peeing. You can't see anything, but that is what's happening here.
Yeah, but I was like, this is a new venue. It's called the Brooklyn Paramount. Beautiful theater that I guess has just been sitting there dormant until somebody just rehabbed the place. It's amazing, but we'd never been there before, so we're like following the directions. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's on the next block, and like we're down in the heart of like parking nightmare, like down by the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, and just like, all right, well, yeah, whatever. There's probably parking garages around, but like we sent the angels ahead of time, like, and we're like, oh, there's a spot, literally right outside the place, like. You found it too. You were like, "There's a spot."
Well, because you pulled over to like let someone pass you or something. I was like, "Wait, where
that's the spot?" Pulled in. Look, there was no other spots in the entire neighborhood, so we got this amazing parking spot. Grabbed our earplugs, walked into the venue without a problem. Like, security was very like kind of super lax. It was just like you walked through a little metal detector, went in there. And we were like, wow, this is a really nice place. We walked in, started walking down through the crowd, and like literally the second we like found a place, the first band came out and started playing. And I was like, oh, wow, look at this.
We do it right.
We really do it. We really do it perfectly sometimes, because not often do we even
We're very
care.
timely too. I feel like
yeah.
we're on time. It just makes everything go a little easier when you're on time.
Yeah, totally. But it also like, because of shit like that, it reminds me, I'm like, we're always on time. We always show up to something when we should. And we wanted to see all 3 bands, which is not often that we want to. And the Adolescents were incredible. And they really warmed the crowd up. I was like, oh, wow, there's like a little pit going. And then the Circle Jerks came out. And I was like, whoa.
There's a significant pit from the very beginning.
From the beginning, yeah. But it was like we could stand in our place. We could stand still.
Next to the pit.
Yeah. Yeah, probably like 10 rows back, like next to mosh pit adjacent. And then the Circle Jerks came out, and I like turned around and I was like, oh, whoa, because it's like a 3,500 person theater. I was like, okay, this is definitely a sold out show. And you could see at that point, I was like, oh, wow, we're right at the front. And the pit was significantly bigger and more violent, and just a Slamdance Cosmopolis just opened up, and I was like, oh wow, this is awesome. Like, you never know when you go to see these bands when they're at this age, like, and the crowd's going to be a little older or whatever, but like you said, like surprisingly a lot of young kids there, which just really, really, really warmed my heart. Everything about the whole evening warmed my heart. And the Circle Jerks were incredible, and I could see their set list. So I knew what songs were going to signify like the last song or two, and I knew what the last song was going to be. And the last song I turned to, I was like, if you want to get the best spot ever for the Descendents, we should get in the pit right now and kind of just like ride the wave of people right to the middle and just push towards the front. And we did it. And, you know, it's like 20 minutes between the bands, and we're literally standing there. Like, you kept getting us closer.
Well, if we're doing it, let's do it.
Right in the middle. Yeah, but I don't see. I've had enough experience at shows where I'm like, we're beyond doing it now. We're overdoing it.
Look, the pit happens. There's the stage. The closer we are, the further we are from the pit.
From the pit.
So I was just getting us further from the pit.
I see what you were thinking, but we were one person away from the rail, and those people, they're fucked. Those people, I mean, they got their hours before the show and they got their spot, but the second the band starts,
they're going to be like that guy who smokes salvia.
Yeah, they're going to be, totally. Totally. And boy, oh boy,
it was awesome though.
That.
Milo was right above us.
Yeah, they come out and
epic.
it's like, this is our favorite. I mean, they're my favorite punk band. Like they're like the Beach Boys to me. They're like such a classic. Like I mean, they transcend punk music. They transcend time. They transcend generations. Like those songs are so important to me. And you never even heard the Descendents when we met. Mm-hmm. And they're so important to you.
Yeah.
Like that's how I know it transcends all the bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, because like Circle Jerks were great, but you were like, whoa, okay, you know, I don't know, it's not totally your thing. Like we like it hard.
Well, I mean, Descendents are just such pop hits, you know what I mean? It's so catchy.
Yeah, the best pop punk songs
and you can
ever.
Like you can barely understand what the guy from the Circle Jerks is saying. You can understand.
Screaming. You know, it's just like it's fucking awesome.
It's awesome, but
it's not the Descendents. But yeah, they came out and it's like, wow, we're like almost uncomfortably close to this band. Like they're right there. They go into the first note of the first song and we were just in the cauldron. It felt
good though. It felt like an antidote. Young. It felt like being young.
Yeah.
It felt like being overstimulated. It felt like an antidote to COVID. It felt like we were just like it's like you're like in an orgy without having to be sexual with anyone. You're just like in a mash of bodies.
Everybody is just extremely intimate with each other all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And also like it's so violent and intense, but everyone's looking out for each other. Nobody's there with like malicious intent at all. Like everybody, especially for that music. Like if that's your thing, like you're not going in there like, I want to fucking hurt somebody tonight.
Yeah.
But it erupted into such an insane mosh pit that like we were just like, it was like
I like saved you from a guy kicking you in the head, like who was crowd surfing, and then I just felt like I had to like stare behind you.
All I was doing was trying to protect you. I couldn't even enjoy the concert. I was just like, oh, okay. And I'm like trying to buy you space so you can breathe. And it's like the second the music started, all of a sudden I'm standing on like fabric. You know, I was just like, what the, like people's sweatshirts and clothes fell off. And I was like, I couldn't stand on normal ground. I was like, what the fuck is going on up here? And it was crazy. And I see like, wow, there's so many crowd surfers coming up and we're just like, we're exactly where they would land. I was like, I got to protect Cass from this. And in the meantime, I get like just kicked right in the head. And then like I get slammed over and your head like went right into my cheekbone. And I was like, whoa, this is during the first song. I was like, I don't know, this is unsustainable, but I saw how much you liked being up there, or like how proud we were of that spot.
I mean, it was a great spot. It was a lot of fun.
We lasted 4 songs up there, and you turned around to me like,
well, because my leg was getting like twisted. I was like, look,
my body was being pulled in 2 different directions.
I'm just like literally, like I'm wearing hiking boots.
Yeah,
like I'm being responsible.
And you're kind of tall. Like we're both tall.
Yeah, and I'm literally don't have control if like my leg could just like totally get ripped in the wrong direction. There's
a girl next to us that was like 4'11". I was like, she's gonna die. Like how can she breathe? Like she's up to my elbow right now, and like there's so much pressure on me, and I can actually hold my own. Like I can't imagine what this girl's going through.
We had fun though. We were bouncing all over the place, singing the songs.
Well, you just have to like, submit to it.
Yeah, but you can't fight it. Almost, you have to just like we were kind of going with it. But even with going with it, I was literally feeling twisted in 2 different directions, and that's when I turned to you and I was like,
"We're gonna get hurt."
I said I don't want to get hurt.
I don't want to get hurt. And I was like, oh,
because I started
thought of that.
I started doing the math. I'm like, I want to be. We're supposed to be on the road filming, and I'm supposed to be holding a camera and like traveling and stuff for like 2 months. Like what if I'm like just nursing a sprained ankle. That just everything goes.
You had a very adult conversation with yourself in your head, and you turned to me, and like we're like trying to like hold on to each other, and you're like, I don't want to get hurt, and I was like, yeah, me neither. So we kind of like rode the circle pit right out, and we found a great spot and watched the rest of the show. And
it was sad I was sad to leave. I was sad to leave.
I know, just to being like
in it,
10
you're just
feet
like,
behind it, like you're just like, oh wow, it's a whole different vibe back here.
Very different vibe.
And then when I went to the bathroom, you go like a little further back, and you're like, oh, this is like chill back here.
Yeah,
like
totally.
These people have no idea what those people are going through right now, or maybe they do, and they're like, I'm too old.
I think
for
it's
this.
funny because that's where I started with you in our relationship, is like in the pit, like one of the earliest shows, like your cousin Jesse like lifted me up and I was crowd surfing. I was like, whoa, this is fun, you know?
Yeah.
But then very quickly I grew to the place of like seeing enough girls come out with bloody noses that I'm like,
yeah,
that's not for me. I'm going to stand behind the security guard at the back of the pit and I'll be fine there.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I think you figure out different ways in your life to stay alive and feel young and stimulated. And we're just at a place where we're craving this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We were craving, maybe it was COVID, maybe it's other things, maybe it's not.
It had been 11 years since we last saw the Descendents at St. Vitus in Greenpoint, Brooklyn.
What, 11 years?
Yeah.
Insane.
That was 2013.
That was an insane show.
Yeah. Yeah, but we were really craving it. I think our souls needed it.
So there's something, I think both of us, and Athena had said this once, and I was like, oh, I resonate with that. She's like, I'm a slut for sound. And I'm like, really? Me too.
Yeah.
Like, if there's something that makes I inhabit a slutty feeling, not towards other people, but like, just like, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Like, take me over.
Yeah. Overstimulate me.
Yeah, it's like,
do whatever you want
like,
to me.
To the sound. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That feels very in line with us. And I kind of I've been, since that show, keep having premonitions. I'm like, Sean, well, we love being overstimulated by punk and butthole surfers or whatever it is. And I'm like, the next frontier, I was like, I'm calling it now. We're going to get into electronic music. I don't know when, I don't know how, but it's literally just a matter of time. Because I was just thinking, like, these guys aren't going to be playing forever.
They're 61 years old.
They're 61 years old. And the butthole surfers aren't playing anymore.
They're 67 years old.
Exactly. And I'm like, but we need this. Like, our souls need this. We're sluts for sound.
Yeah.
What are we going to do about this? And I'm like, well, there's this whole other genre of music
that can make us into like real sluts.
That can make us into real sluts.
I get it. I see what you're saying. Because like I've thought like my tastes have, you know, like you know, just being like, oh, I only like white guys type of thing. It's like I only like you know, I only like punk. I only like certain kind of guitar. I need it to be guitars and drums, and it's just like.
Or I want it to be only short songs.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, I don't know. None of that's true. You know, like there is a way for us to go get that. Probably a very similar feeling. I don't know if it could be the same thing because in particular what that show was like tapping into a nostalgia. Like you're just tapping into all this stuff. But
well, and also
in terms of having our minds blown and being like overstimulated to the point where you just have to submit to it.
Yeah, like transcendent experience. Yeah.
Yeah, the next frontier is electronic music.
Yeah, and a lot of music that it does that, like with the bass drops. And I think we get frustrated because a lot of times we've had to listen to electronic music. It has not been of our choosing. It has not been at the hour of our choosing.
No, dubstep ain't for me because it's too formulaic, you know.
But I think there is, maybe it's a more European dubstep or something that really feels like it takes you up into the spaceship.
Absolutely.
And it's like melts you down to a little puddle of a person and then builds you back up again. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't exactly know what our gateway is going to be. But it feels inevitable.
I feel like I kind of experienced it the other night.
Oh, yeah. And then so that's so funny.
That's what I thought you were trying to lead to.
Yeah, no, it was. And then I forgot.
Yeah. Well, we went up to exactly a week after that Descendents show. This was a couple nights ago. We went up to COSM, the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors in Wappingers Falls, Alex and Allison Gray's art church, and we had an incredible time. We could talk more about that on the Afterglow because there's some details we can't talk about on here. But basically, the the after party, like they do a full moon gathering, and like the ceremony was really, really beautiful. And it was a 420 celebration. It was on 420. And so everything was about cannabis. They did the history of cannabis, and they had experts. They had Julie Holland and her husband come in and speak about cannabis. And when they opened it up to the people, that's what everybody kept referencing and turning back to and everything. So very interesting.
And you still didn't smoke a joint with me after all that?
No, I feel like I was honoring cannabis like
by
more than ever in a way, by like not overindulging and more just like thinking about how special it is and how it's gotten me through so many times, and just what it was doing. It gave me the lecture about it gave me so much perspective as to why I was using it.
You know what I loved about it is hearing about how many like ancient cultures used cannabis as incense. And I was like, we should definitely be doing that.
Yeah.
Like even when we're not smoking cannabis, it's just like,
yeah,
you know, a slight hot box of the room, like just a wafting of
I could
cannabis.
get down with that. I like that.
Yeah.
For sure. Definitely.
But we looked into it, and we're going to do like maybe
we'll make little cones.
Make little incense cones, because there's a way to make your own incense. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to make little cannabis incense cones.
Yeah, I think it's cool. But yeah, basically we did that. We did the ceremony part, and then they do like ecstatic dance and a bonfire and like all kinds of performances and live painting and everything. And we were with your dad. So we were with our friend Laura and your dad, and you know, we were just like kind of like, okay, you know, the ceremony's over, like we can leave at any time, but like let's check out what's going on. And there was a DJ duo called Alien TV that set up in there, and they started playing some really wild electronic music.
You
and
were captivated.
They were surrounded by TVs, and like they were like the video was like going along with the music, and they were like bizarre like clips from 80s sitcoms, and like a clip of Terrence McKenna and Joseph Campbell talking to a group of people, and they were like mixed in there, and they were just being ridiculous. And it reminded me of the Butthole Surfers a little bit, in the sense of just like they're making this overwhelming music, but it like there's something actually melodic there that you can hang on to. Well, and it's not self-serious.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing.
And I got very, very swept up in it. So your premonition came true like literally like a week later. You're like, the next frontier is going to be electronic music. And I think all I needed was to know that there's twisted jokers out there making that stuff that aren't like, oh, all eyes on me, I'm going to press a button. Like, you know, like, I can't even speak to it. I can't even knock that kind of music, because so many people that listen to this like are well versed in it and could probably show me the ways. So I don't want to sound like a fool like when I was a young punk and rejecting the Grateful Dead.
It's okay to be honest though about what turns you off about something.
The self-seriousness,
you know?
You know, like the aesthetic of the whole thing, the self-seriousness, the like, I don't know. I love drugs, but I just hate how associated with drugs it becomes, and like, you know, like people with flying saucer eyes, like who are completely out of it, like, you know, like I don't know. It's just I don't know. It just throws me off a little bit. We also have had like traumatic experiences with it when we were making Wooks, like where it's like people are playing what sounds to me like the same song over and over with the same predictable drop at the same part in the thing for fucking 72 hours, 24/7, waking me up in the middle of the night. And like, it traumatized me to that kind of music. I was just like, this ain't it, y'all. And I just associated with a bunch of like drunk, way too much Molly fucking fuckheads, and just like, I don't know, this just like kind of aloofness, but also like self-seriousness, and but I don't know, seeing these Alien TV guys, and like I was just like, all right.
Well, it's also like with it's also like with the Deadheads. When you're not in the scene, you just like, see the most extreme aspect of the scene, and you think that is representative.
Yeah, and I remember as a kid, I was always like, I don't want to be like that. I think that's a mockery. Like, that's a joke. That's not how you want to be. And like, the truth is, the punk scene was too self-serious. It definitely grew to become so. And you know, what started off as what was supposed to be like a very inclusive thing became like very judgmental, and like, oh, you don't have the right hair, you don't have the right outfits or the right patches, or you know, like, it's just bullshit that I actually kind of like, it turned me off after a while. And then I got into the Grateful Dead, you know?
Yeah, no, we always say, like, what's going to be the music that we can't imagine ever liking, and then all of a sudden it, like, totally just constructs a whole new universe for us.
Could be that.
Yeah,
We'll
I
see.
mean, it's a big universe. It's a very broad genre to say electronic music, you know?
It'll just take, like, one group or, like, you know.
Well, it's also like how we, you know, there's like, we loved vaporwave. We love vaporwave. You know, it's like there comes a point where
it's not like I'm against music that isn't coming from, like, guitars and drums and bass in a traditional way.
Yeah, but remember when we were in our real deep vaporwave phase, it was like nothing could hit the same spot.
Yeah.
You're like, this is to the point where we did a 3-day self-imposed silent retreat, and the first thing we did after we came out was listen to vaporwave music for 5 hours.
Yeah. It was great.
And it was amazing.
It felt like so soothing. And the reason what got me into vaporwave was the same thing that got me into the Dead. Devin Person, the wizard. We took a couple tabs of acid. That's how I first found the Dead. He was like, let me play. I'll DJ. And I was just relieved. I took a couple hits of acid, and he put on Live Dead from 1969. And Dark Star came on, and I was like, oh, I'm a Deadhead. Like this, I did not know that this was possible. I didn't even know people made music like this. This is so far out. And that's still like the song. Like that's the holy grail of the Grateful Dead catalog as far as I'm concerned. And was it on the same goddamn acid trip? I think it was.
That you went into the jacuzzi?
Later on that night. You know, because while I was coming up, he played the Dead, and I was like, oh, this is my lifeline right now. I needed it. And then later on, he was like, how about a little hot tub and vaporwave? And I was like, all right. And like I think Mallory was with us. You guys went and did your girl thing. And me and Devin just got in the hot tub, and he put on vaporwave. We were just looking up at the stars, and the stars were organized. I couldn't believe it. The stars literally just formed into a perfect grid. And I was like, wow. And then I started paying attention to the music, and I swear I've never laughed so hard in my life.
Well, it's ridiculous.
It is so ridiculous. And I was just asking Devin a million questions about where this came from and who made these things. And he's like, it's a lot of like kids. It's like some kid in the middle of nowhere. And I think what turned me on about it was like it wasn't self-serious at all. Like it was actually kind of based on a joke. I mean, like they're making music that sounds like
mall music.
Yeah, like that series on YouTube, Dead Malls. Mm-hmm. Like that's the soundtrack is vaporwave. Mm-hmm. It literally it sounds like that's what they were making it for. Like video of a dead mall or of some mall in the future. And it just cracked me up, the stuff that they were reappropriating and sampling and the way they put it together, that it just like cracked open this whole new reality for me. And I became obsessed with vaporwave. And it's actually a short-lived genre. I don't even know. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's still people making vaporwave, but like its popularity kind of peaked years before I found it. But would have never in a million years thought that would be a rabbit hole I would fall down. So I'm willing to fall down other rabbit holes. I just kind of got to get over myself. I'm the one being self-serious.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, that's a funny way of saying it.
Because all I have is my taste.
Yeah.
That's all I have in this life.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It's the only thing that makes me think that we have some chance of getting through this AI thing is like, well, we are going to need curators, right?
Maybe. I don't know. There's
Who
probably
knows?
AI that could curate better than me.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So Alien TV really blew my mind a little bit. That was really good. And, you know, I was shaking booty, making sweet love all the night.
Yeah, no, you were in the zone, man.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah. Totally.
Because it's like you don't always get in the zone when just come across someone performing music or whatever, where you're like, all right, I'm at the altar and it's time to pray.
You can tell when I'm in the zone because I have my eyes closed. I have no awareness of what the hell's going on around me. I just find a spot where the music sounds good. I close my eyes, I put my head down, and I just like get into my groove. But I literally have my eyes closed for like 90% of the time. Afterwards, Laura was like, there was babes checking you out because there were so many hot babes there. It was crazy. It was crazy. Like, to the point where your dad was like, oh yeah, so COSM definitely like pays like hot girls to come and like keep the mood high. And I was like, no, that's
well,
just,
maybe. You don't know.
I guess. Yes.
It'd be a good idea.
Look, I've also been there where that is not the case, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Alien TV has maybe a big following.
No, I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't know. I can't speak.
But that's how good the girls who were dancing were that my dad thought they were hired.
Yeah. And I was like, no, that's just what this community is. That's kind of like, there was just like a lot of hot looks there, and your dad was getting down with it more than I was. Let's just say
I got nervous about him.
I know,
because he stood right in front of the speaker, and I was like, Dad, your ears.
Yeah, totally.
And so I handed him some earplugs, and I was like,
yeah.
And he just like was in the groove.
He never left the dance floor.
Which is pretty cool. We brought a lot of people to COSM over the years, and he just embraced the whole thing.
I would say, like, we've probably brought a few dozen people up there with us that have never been there before, or never even heard of it. And he's in like the top percentile of people that enjoyed it.
Yeah, he was like, that was great.
Of all people.
Well, because he goes to a lot of events, but he goes to like boring events. He goes to like the Audubon Society or the Historical Society or the local. He's like a thing
at the library.
He's like a community guy who will go to things.
Yeah.
So
and stick it out. Like
yeah.
We go to something and we're like, we go in for 5 minutes and we're like, let's go before anyone notices us or notices we were even here. This isn't our scene. Like, let's just get the hell out of here. But like COSM is like, that is one place like we've always felt
he was
really
always like, so people come here from like all over the world, and it's like, yeah.
No, he was so blown away before the ceremony, before anything. We got there a couple hours early just to check out like Entheon, the museum.
Yeah, the first thing I did was take him to Chapel of Sacred Mirrors, like the room where you go around and
you stand in front of the Sacred Mirrors paintings.
Yeah,
there's 21 of them, and they depict like the human nervous system, the circulatory system, the muscles, and then the light body and like all these kind of things. And you stand in front of them and you can really reflect, and like it's one of those hit or miss things. Like, your dad is, as much as he's down for shit, he's also got a really critical eye for art and for, just, I don't know, lameness. Like, you just never know how people are going to react. We've brought a lot of people up there that we thought were going to love it, and they just couldn't suspend their disbelief, and we're just like, yeah.
Or where the suspiciousness is like, oh, well, they're talking about how they want members. This just seems like a ploy to get. I think the cult thing is so
it's
present.
Sad. Yeah,
it's okay though.
That's not a cult.
But I think it's also important that people have critical thinking and don't put people on pedestals. And I think it's an important.
But by doing that for them, it's like you're really throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Like, this is a community of artists and bright souls and psychedelic heads that just want to come together. This is not about worshiping Alex and Allison Gray. They've just happened to make really cool art, and a lot of it.
Well, and I think they're worth appreciating. I mean, the amount of work that they've created and the space that they've held and the commitment they've done to this is amazing. But at the same time, it's okay to. But sometimes it's unfortunate to be in a space where you can't even appreciate it because you're so scared of getting gotten. You know what I mean?
That was the experience of a number of people we brought up there.
That they so need to distance themselves is like, I'm not going to get got by this whole scene.
I'm not getting caught up in any kind of cults. And then like they just couldn't see how amazing.
Yeah, you lose the opportunity to like appreciate that there's a space like this that exists where people are talking about psychedelics, looking at visionary art, devoting themselves to visionary art. Like, that's a pretty cool thing.
It's incredible.
And if it's not exactly your aesthetic or not exactly your vibe, it doesn't matter. You can still appreciate that this is a space that exists.
Yeah. And we've brought so many people up there that were just like kind of really negative on the thing, to the point where
about paranoia. It's just their paranoia
got the best of them.
Yeah, because sometimes if your paranoia is really like, I feel like I can flirt with paranoia a little bit more because my paranoia isn't that strong.
Yeah.
So I like, I'm not even paranoid about being paranoid. Does that make sense?
That's it makes sense to me, because that's kind of the way I even see COSM. It's just like, even if this was a cult, I trust my better instincts so much that like I could play around with that energy.
Well, it's always at the beginning of the cult documentaries.
What are they going to do? Like,
Yeah.
what is it they're trying to get me to do or going to do? You know what I mean?
Well,
You literally have to sign a waiver before you go in there saying you're not going to do drugs.
Yeah.
You know? Not that anyone abides, but what were you going to say about the beginning of the...
I don't remember. I was just going to talk about those cult documentaries. But it's always funny because I always get into it being like, these people got so much out of it. They got community and everything. And then all of a sudden it takes a very dark turn. And it's like, oh, when you give over, you can appreciate and be part of a community. But there's a line between giving over your power and identity to something
I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I think we both just have such a strong sense of self that we can go towards things like that and get the most out of them without being like so suspicious that we can't enjoy it. Like, man, to go up there and not enjoy or appreciate it and like instead be like, no, I have to like go up there with like a prophylactic attitude, and it's just like, what are you doing? Like, no one's trying to get you to do anything here.
And just
like,
because they want members, you can just not be a member.
They
you know
need
what I mean?
members to keep that going. Do you see how many staff are there and the amount of buildings they're upkeeping and the property and the amount of art and like all that shit? And like, God damn, I can't even imagine. Like, yeah, of course they need we need members, you know, like we need people to sign up for our Patreon and like appreciate what we do to the point that like, they're like, I'll throw you guys $2 a month to hear more of it and like keep you doing your thing. That's all I feel like I'm doing by going to their events and paying for their events or memberships or whatever.
Totally.
But yeah, so I was paranoid about bringing your dad there when he decided he wanted to go with us. For a couple of weeks, I was just kind of like, ooh, God, this could be a rough day. It could be another one of those days at COSM for me where I can't enjoy myself because I'm worried about someone else not enjoying it. And literally the second we set foot in there, he's like, whoa.
Yeah, because it's literally in our backyard in a way.
What is going on here? Yeah, this is right here in our backyard. And he turned to me and he was like, people probably will come here from all over the world to see this. I was like, oh no, they already do. Wait till you get into the gathering, the ceremony tonight. Like, there'll be people from all over the world that came here just for tonight. And I could see like the sparkles in his eyes of like, whoa, that is so cool. I can't believe this. And like, your dad's a really critical guy sometimes. So
we all can be.
Yeah, we all can be. But like,
because all we have is our taste, Sean.
Yes, exactly. To bring it back home. But yeah, that allowed me to have a great day, honestly. Him turning to me and expressing to me like, I'm in awe of this place. And, you know, just having seen the top floor, we didn't even really fully get into it.
Well, the amount of art that they've created and produced is, he's like, do they sleep? Like, what?
How have they done all this?
And I'm like, you're not even seeing the half of it. Most of it they've sold.
Yeah, exactly. So that was awesome. And I could tell Laura really appreciated it too.
Yeah, we had a blast. I'm so grateful for that space. I recommend anyone who has the opportunity to visit it does, and we will go meet you there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Pretty much like any event that they have there, we're willing to go meet people. Come on, you can come up here, Magic. No?
She doesn't know what's
going on. She sees that we're in the middle of a broadcast. Be bold. Come on, Magic.
Come here, baby.
Come on, make a little appearance.
All these wires are confusing.
Yes. Here's Magic.
Show everyone your butt. Don't turn around.
Yeah, but maybe we can get in more detail about some of the stuff we were doing.
Yeah, but no, we've had some fun experiences, so we can
on the Patreon.
Yeah, let's switch it over.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna do what we always do, and we're gonna do a part 2 on Patreon where we can get a little bit more specific and deep and not incriminate anyone or ourselves. And yeah, just join us on there. It's called the Afterglow. So we do another episode and we get really loose.
Yeah, I don't know how much more we could incriminate ourselves by being like, we started ketamine and did DMT, but we always find something fun to talk about.
No, I want to talk more. I want to talk more about DMT and LSD and ketamine and all that stuff and kind of what we did the other night. And but it's not our business to air out other people's
Yeah, not even
experiences.
not even on the page, whatever. We're just going to talk about our own experiences, but they're good. We had good experiences.
We had great experiences. So if you want to hear more about that, or join our Discord community, or hear my psychedelic music mixes,
which are great,
join patreon.com/churchofchill. It's $2 a month, but if you have the means, throw us a little bit more, you know. There was somebody that was giving us $50 a month. I didn't even realize that somebody was giving us $50 a month, and then their pledge got deleted the other day. Sometimes like a credit card lapses or whatever, and I was like, damn, that person was really helping us out. Like,
it's very generous.
We
We're
need
very
another
grateful.
we need another few like very generous patrons, so we can keep doing this and not have sponsors.
We'll keep doing it.
We'll keep doing it regardless.
But we do really appreciate it.
Deeply, deeply. It means a lot to us. My heart like flutters every time a new person joins. It's really awesome. So yeah, join us there. Patreon.com/churchofchill. Much more to come. And we'll see you next week. Peace, love, and magic, y'all.
Bye, y'all.